What's some outdated advice that's no longer applicable today? In the original Boy Scouts handbook, if I recall, in order to deal with a suicidal person who threw themselves onto train tracks was to jump on top of them and restrain their extremities within the confines of the rails and allow the train to simply pass over them. However, as far as I'm aware, most modern trains have much lower clearances and have monitoring and other equipment jutting from the bottom, leaving clearances of mere inches. Nobody's going to pay you to stare at a computer screen all day. Mom 1996, dawn of internets. When on vacation it's unsafe to carry cash. Use traveler's checks instead. American Express traveler's checks, don't leave home without them. Quote. My grandma told me to find out where a restaurant is. Look up their phone number in the yellow pages and call to ask for directions. Always keep a quarter on you in case you need to make a call. It's not advised to square dance in your period. One of my favorite videos from the 1940s on advice for girls and puberty. The Story of Menstruation. 1946. https u2.be/vg909mo What were you doing when the Twin Towers fell? I worked in a building about 1/8 mile from Grand Central Station. I was in my cubicle when a coworker yelled for us to get to the conference room. We all watched the carnage on an old tube TV that was used to watch work-related videos. This was followed by everybody rushing to phones to contact people who were working in the towers or around the towers. We were then evacuated because we were close to landmarks. The UN, Grand Central Station, the Chrysler Building. I had a day of study leave and was shopping for clothes at a local market. I got home to find my dad absolutely losing his shit over the news. We're in the UK. And I had next to no idea what the World Trade Center was. I was about 18 and very naive, but realized pretty quickly it was a major deal after that. I just got back to my dorm after an 8 a.m. calculus class. At the time, my default web page was Yahoo, and the news list had a huge breaking headline about a plane hitting one of the towers. I turned on my TV and within 2 minutes, the live broadcast showed the second plane hitting. My roommate and I sat and talked about how this wasn't just a weird accident. It was obviously terrorists. And shit was going to get crazy, and eventually the first tower fell. Then the second. Classes were cancelled the rest of the day, and I distinctly remember the screams from a girl named Cassie just down the hall learning from her mom that her dad was on one of the floors above where the first plane hit and didn't make it out. She left for home the next day and never returned. I worked for a day trading company. We had data feeds from individuals in the towers. One person that did trading news broadcasts pretty much said, "Shit. The other tower is on fire. I'm getting out of here," and left. Saved his life. In social studies class in 7th grade, and someone came in and told us the World Trade Center had been hit by an airplane. I had no clue that was the Twin Towers until they turned the TVs to the news. Caught the L at the Graham Avenue station maybe a minute after the first plane hit. From that side of the street, all I saw was a large plume of smoke and thought, I bet I'll hear about that fire later. From the other side of the street, I would have seen the towers. Watched the towers fall from Union Square. What movie is a 0/10? Does anyone remember, and I am sorry if I made you remember, the second Highlander movie? Mean Girls 2. Slenderman 2018. NGL. A small teeny tiny part of me had a sliver of hope for this movie, especially considering that Slenderman would be the perfect creepypasta character to center a movie around. But no, they fucked it up in every way imaginable. Dragon Ball live action. 0. Sylvester Stallone himself when asked to rate Rocky 5 out of 10 on the Jonathan Ross show in the UK. Pretty rare for me to turn off a movie once I commit to watching, but I think I made it 20 minutes into Darko before having to end that experiment. Schizophrenics of Reddit. How did it start? Serious. Asterisk asterisk attention. Serious. Tag notice asterisk asterisk. Asterisk. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted. https www.reddit.com/r/askreddit/wiki/index-wiki_rule_6- in asterisk any asterisk comment. Parent or child. Asterisk parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. Asterisk report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour, and posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. Asterisk I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit. Message compose to =r AskReddit if you have any questions or concerns. Asterisk. The major symptoms didn't really manifest as something I noticed. I got mixed up in weird internet communities and ended up believing myself to be in a relationship with a fictional woman. It was so serious that I could actually hear her talking to me at times. But when I realized there was a problem, it started with little tiny things. Out the corner of my eye, I'd see insects on the walls, or my phone's notification light flashing, or the shadow of someone standing behind me. At my office job, people liked to stand behind me and wait until I noticed them to actually talk to me. Then it grew. Occasionally, I'd see a shadow person walking under some street lamps, but they'd be gone when I looked again. Or I'd use my phone's GPS to go somewhere, and I could faintly hear it blabbering random syllables between instructions. What really frightened me was when I saw a little dancing dot in the center of my vision. It was the most direct, obvious sign my mind was failing. I went to the walk-in for an unrelated issue and brought up my hallucinations at the end of the trip. And the doctor told me that he'd get an ambulance for me if I didn't drive myself to the nearest emergency room. They put me in a little mental health assessment wing, where I thought there were cameras in the walls. There was a really noisy fan in the bathroom that turned on with the lights. And I could swear I heard the nurse babbling to the security guard while I was in there. It didn't make any sense. Just like the GPS. But it was about me. I knew I had to get out of there. Despite the delays from bigger hospitals, I was able to see a private psychiatrist who put me on medication. My issues stopped almost completely, with few side effects. Once we found the right medication, I still see the occasional bug or something like that, but it's under much greater control now. People seemed like they were always looking at me and talking about me. More than usual. I started getting worried the ground might vanish or my car windows were TV screens showing me fake sights. Saw little light pixie lights floating around by the time I got into the psych ward. I had the feeling people were watching me, but would stop as soon as I started to watch them back. Then it began to feel like I was judged on everything I was doing, on how I was performing in life. At this time I was 13. It ramped up slowly until I reached 16. You know that feeling when you're talking to yourself but you slowly realized it is not you, that you can hear in your mind? I had that 3 days before Christmas when I got 16 years old. But I didn't want to tell my parents. It's Christmas. Not exactly the best time to declare, yo, I am batshit crazy when you have family over. And let me tell you, my voice was super convincing to keep that for myself. Luckily for me, my aunt could not make it to my parents' house because she believed the FBI was looking for her. My uncle brought her to a psychiatrist, who declared she had schizophrenia. It became clear to me that I was going through the same thing as her. So I told my parents. Then I got my diagnostic. That was the worst Christmas I have ever had. When I was a very young child, I used to get visited by this light show that would come when I was scared and couldn't sleep. It was so pretty and looked like moving beads across the walls, almost like a kaleidoscope. Didn't connect it that was the beginning until years after my diagnosis. Before I was aware it was a thing. I woke up to lights being on that I swore I turned off. Hearing things in the house. I started to think my house was haunted. Which was stupid considering I have a family history. My house was not haunted. My brain is. My first legitimate psychotic break, I was mountain climbing. Saw a child on the summit and freaked out that he was going to fall. My friend just stared at me, there wasn't anyone there. Edit. Thank you for all the well wishes and awards. Very kind and unexpected. Schizophrenia is something I struggle to talk about in my real life because the stigma is enormous.
Subscribe, my brothers.